She gives you very experienced, deep, intelligent answers. So that's the kind of thing I would wish for our girls at the Peer Educators Academy to go through. But also, if you look at the spaces and the opportunity, like the festival itself, last year we were able to see a lot of female musicians. I think Lillian was there and others. And for me, listening to Jackie again, it's an inspiration for our talent, our young talent. It's very, very hard. For the way, personally, I can tell you, Jackie, that I think the three of you, I really love you. Because you are of my time. You are of my time. And last year when I saw her coming, I was very ecstatic. So looking and hearing from your story, the things you're saying, other girls out there don't think that you went through that. So when you come at the festival and you're able to share such a deep experience of what you've gone through, you have no idea how many people you're fueling out there to believe that they can also make it, to understand that there are actually barriers, and to know how to face them. I think we've heard a lot about that in the politics, as women in politics, what they go through to get to the top, etc. You need the affirmation of people that have gone through it. They should tell you what the challenges are, and you go ready. You're not finding them just at the doorstep and then you are shocked at what you find. So for me, I'm really happy that our young people have people like you to meet at the festival and at the Imara Center and to inspire them. Looking at what we stand for example, on this festival, we're also commemorating the International Day of the Girl Child. And you know, this is not something unique to Uganda. This is not something local. This is something, when we speak of the International Day of the Girl Child, then we are really trying to put into perspective and say it. You know, a human being is so much what they hear and then a lot what they do. But you know, you can't do something unless you've actually seen it being done by someone or heard about it. So for us, as part of the International Day of the Girl Child, we are looking at every opportunity to create a new way of doing things, a new way of doing things that resonates with the realities of our times, that resonates with the current challenges, and not to forget that our world today is so widespread in terms of inequality. Inequality exists at almost every level. So a day like this, where we get a person like Jackie speak about her case, we get a lady who is coming from the marketplace, we get a student, everyone is able to put a point on what the inequality is there, what is the way forward that they can do to overcome it. So then we stop this whole thinking of women are one small big basket, they have the same challenges, we can have one hammer and solve it all, to get the different pieces fitting together. Those of us who are into programming like Richer Hand Uganda, we do research, we go to communities, but it is so empowering to hear the things you've been struggling to find out, coming out from people that have faced them, and also giving you pointers of what you can do to address them. So for us, really, we think that this day is a very, very big advantage in the work that we do, because fundamentally, it shapes our narrative, it shapes our communication. We use communication a lot in our work, and it also defines what are the priorities that our programs shall run on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, James. And just to say, I am a live example mentored and shaped by the Peer Educators Academy of Richer Hand Uganda. So let me go to Molly, and we dive into the sector of the market women. So as a woman in the market, what do you believe are the most significant barriers that young girls face in your community, and how can investments in their potential change their future?
Thank you, moderator. When we look at girls in the informal sector, more especially in the markets, there is education inequality. These girls have no access to higher education due to lack of funds. They end up serving food in the markets. They end up getting small stores to sell merchandise. So these girls face a lot of challenges because they don't go far in education. This hinders them to acquire good earning jobs. You cannot find, it's rare to find a girl child, a grown-up girl child from a market in parliament. It's rare. And you cannot find them in offices because they never went far in their studies. There is a lot of sexual violence, sexual harassment in markets. And this is done by the men in the markets and the customers as well. So these girls are harassed, but you cannot tell someone that I'm harassed, and because they need evidence, they need to see how were you harassed. So these girls face a lot of sexual harassment in the markets. They face, there is a lot of, they lack healthcare access because their parents earn little and they're always busy on their stores. So these girls, they cannot access healthcare centers, making them having risks on their health. So when you see these challenges, it requires comprehensive societal change. This includes educational reforms, reforms in policies to promote gender equality, and having mobile clinics in the markets, getting healthy camps in the markets. For these women, they are always there in the markets, on their stores. The moment you tell her that there is cancer screening in the hospital free of charge, they feel like the moment I move away, I'll lose a customer. So it's better to extend these mobile clinics near them in the markets. And when you look at these girls, due to the lack of funds going for further studies, there is a need of them getting skilling programs so that they can access everything they need, their necessities. When you see these girls and when they are skilled, for example, in hairdressing, in tailoring, there is also a need of equipping them, because the moment you train them and you don't equip, it means you've done nothing, because they have no money to access the equipment to use. Yes.
Thank you so much. So this takes me to my next speaker. Mary, as one who has maneuvered through the private sector, how do you believe the private sector can play a role in advocating for gender equality and empowering young girls to unleash their potential?
Thank you, Charlotte. Like I said when I was introducing myself, we are a Ugandan brand that believes that us as Ugandans, we have the solutions for our problems in the community. And I'm very happy that everyone here is Ugandan, and we're here to discuss Ugandan problems. So as a private, because we play in the private sector, one is, as Movit, we have a foundation, and one thing you should know is one of our core is gender equality. We have education, we have maternal health, which is also women, and we also have gender equality. And under gender equality, we've partnered. One of the things is we believe we can't do things on our own as a corporate company. we partner. We work through partnerships. And we've been privileged to work with some organizations. One, we have Reach a Hand Uganda that usually reaches out to us, and we've worked with them on different initiatives. Recently, we are working on the menstrual initiative, where we believe that hygiene is very key for a girl child. I'm a woman. In school, you would go, we've had cases where you hear a girl did not come to school because she was in her periods, or she cannot even afford soap, basic soap, to have clean, to have hygiene. So we've worked with Reach a Hand Uganda to at least extend some bit of hygiene. We provide soap, we provide Sauti and Sauti media, yes. So, and the other thing is, the lady was talking about equipping, training and not equipping. We've been privileged to work with private sector Uganda under an initiative called Unlock Next. For us, it is Unlock Her Potential, which is, so basically they get to see their businesses growing in the community. Recently, we are talking to a beneficiary, one of the participants, who said, if it wasn't for our Unlock Next program, they don't believe they would have reached where they are. Now she has a salon, her own salon. We rent there, and now she can be able to fend for her family, take her children to school, which wasn't the case before. So for us, it's very key. Gender equality is very central to our values and our CSR, programs. So we can't say we've done much if we've not helped a woman in the community. And like I've said, two of our core pillars, maternal and gender equality, even under education. When we are giving out, because we do classroom building and we also do scholarships, some of the positions that we get to have is we have girls, positions for girls strictly. So we say we can have boys, but we have a higher percentage for a girl child to be in education. So gender equality is very key and very central to us as a CSR. And my last thing is, I would like to call upon people in our sector, people in the corporate world, to also join such spaces to help, because we cannot move forward if a woman is left behind. That is my belief. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So back to you, Shamim. How do you think universities can contribute to unleash the potential of young women beyond academics, particularly in leadership and innovation?
Thank you so much, our moderator. First of all, problem is I'm a brief person and I speak very fast, but I think it's going to be to our advantage, right? So, first of all, universities have policies, they have sexual harassment policies, but most of them are not being well enforced. Because you know that it is inevitable for some girls to succumb to such situations, especially if they've not been mentored and guided. And these policies and reforms are there to make sure that in case there's a girl who is facing a sexual harassment, maybe the victim can report and make sure that it is private, that her privacy is protected, and then that the person who has harassed her can get like the right, like the rightful punishment. But most of these policies are not enforceable. There are so many girls that are being sexually harassed, but they cannot even come out because they have seen so and so harassed and nothing has been done. Some of these are probably lecturers or people who are working in universities are untouchables. He's like a professor and they're like, oh, this professor studied from South Africa. How can we, chase them because of just one girl? But most girls are in such situations. Most girls are being sexually harassed. And this is because these sexual harassment policies in the universities are not being properly enforced. Two, how can the universities help? The universities have manpower, and they even have the financial, they can really take care of women, especially in leadership and innovation, by creating women development programs, especially in leadership. Women need to be taught how to lead. They need to be taught how to do business. They also need to be properly represented in certain sectors where they are not, especially when you come to oil and gas, when you go to technology, when you go to science. Those are sectors that engineering, those are sectors that women have left for men, yet they can actually work there and succeed. The other way that the universities can help women unleash their full potential, especially young girls, is mentorship. Mentorship is very key, and the moment you realize that you need to be mentored as a person who is in private sector, as a girl who is volunteering at a certain NGO, as a law student, any other, whatever course you're doing, whatever age, even women, you need to be mentored, you need to be nurtured, you need to be guided. Someone needs to show you the way, because we believe that there are people who have walked the path that you are taking. And when you get guidance from them, you are definitely not going to face the challenge they are facing. Even when you face them, you will know how to, you will know how to maneuver through. The other solution is eliminating gender-based violence, and also making sure that we get over the stereotypes that are in societies. We deserve an inclusive environment as students. We deserve an environment that gives us equal opportunities, that gives us equal rights in classes, in opportunities that are there. Those it is rightful. It is a right for a woman to be in a space that a man is, whether it is in class, whether it is a conference, whether it is a competition, whether it is a debate. I feel like universities need to give more opportunities to women. They need to ensure that women get the rightful they get their rightful space in society. It is also an initiative that universities can take to bring up more programs that can give women confidence, that can teach them of their potential, that can teach them on how to reclaim their space in society. Because we believe that as a woman, you have a rightful space in a society. You need to get all the opportunities and all the rights that a man is getting. Then lastly, I feel like the universities also need to create more networking opportunities, because we all know in this current situation, you need to know someone, you need social capital, and for you to get that social capital, you need to be relevant in the society. So I feel like women should take care of themselves. They should know who they are. When you know who you are, then you will know how to walk your journey. So they need to know who they are. They need to take care of themselves. They look good, read well, relate well, and that will help you get your rightful space in society. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So, picking from that, Solomon, how does Forward plan to sustain and build upon the initiatives started last year in terms of engaging more stakeholders in involving the potential of girls and women?
Okay, I'll begin with where we are situated, where we are anchored as Forward. We began in 1995 as the Women's Caucus that ensured that Uganda got such a gender-responsive constitution. And after we got the constitution, we said, okay, since we've been able to get a key milestone, because I think by then Uganda had the most gender-responsive constitution on the African continent, we can register and have it as an organization. So 30 years down the road, it has become very clear that we need to sustain the work that we do. We need to make sure that, we connect women and girls across diversities, and then reach out to key stakeholders, partner with private sector, partner with other NGOs, reach out to people across geography, across class, across age. In other words, we can't light a candle and keep it under the table. So in terms of sustainability, as Forward, how we see this going is, first of all, is we are committed to ensuring that the Imara Girls Festival is a standing space. So please even book off your next year. That now tells you we are committed to walking this journey, because it's a journey that we see as a snowball. It keeps growing and growing and growing, but also it keeps bringing together girls and young women in their diversity. And that speaks to who we are as an organization, where we can't afford to walk the journeys as separate silos of women and girls, but to bring it all together. And then another commitment that we have that will sustain this is really around ensuring that the Imara Women's Center is up and running. James here has just said they plan to see that the next Peer Educators Academy, the young girls and young boys that are in the academy come to the center. Of course, that's a huge challenge, but it's doable. James, it is doable. We are committed to making sure that the center is up and running. And when you look at the commitment we have within Forward, it's one of the things that's part of our sustainability plan. After 30 years in this business, you must act differently. And as Forward, we have worked ourselves the last few years to really sustain ourselves. For example, we have the biggest radio station in the Greater North called Speak FM. That's part of our sustainability plan. The Imara Women's Center is supposed to be a center that brings together women, men, girls, boys, a space that we all need, which we do not have. That is part of sustaining the work we do. Another level of sustainability is that issues about money are very problematic to us as women. We always say you can't empower a poor woman. My sister here just talked about it. Poverty reduces your choices, but also makes you vulnerable. So one of the things we've asked women and girls and men to do is to get together, to bring all our small monies together. And as Forward, we even run a circle called Pamoja Circle, where we say, I have 500, so that we can be able to learn from each other, but also to walk the journey together. And then part of sustaining ourselves as Imara, as Forward, just 1 minute, you know, this is part of my TA. My mentees told me they never want to see me holding a piece of paper. So now I am reading from my phone. So part of us sustaining ourselves is really continuing the nurturing strategic partnerships. And I am excited that this year we are seeing a broader range of partners coming on board in the Imara Girls Festival. Work and work with other people. So I'd like to thank really our partners. I see there's Omoleso, there's Bidi Now, yes, Bidi Now, Sauti Plus, we have Reach a Hand, we have Generation G, Motive, ATS Events, Uganda National Musicians Federation, Hewlett Foundation, and the Girl Child, as well as many others. I know some of you are out there listening to this. Please, next day, look for both Forward and Rahu and partner. The future is in partnerships. We can never afford to walk alone. So on our part, this is part of our commitment of saying sustainability is showing people that we can share space, and the space is enough for all of us. Another area is around strengthening our national level work. Remember, we said the work we do and why we started was to make sure that policies, laws, and budgets benefit women, girls, boys, and men. So we commit ourselves to continue, to rally women that have passed through Forward. As indicated, when you look at women that are in leadership, parliament, ministries, judiciary, councillors, they have, most of these, almost 80% have passed through Forward. How do we rally them to bridge that divide with the younger people? So now part is around strengthening our mentorship, and we run a young women's leadership program called the Youth Camp for Alternative and Transformative Leadership. So our commitment is to say we need to strengthen that. We need to continue doing it. We need to scale it up. And of course, lastly, we look at sustainability as rallying so many people around this conversation. It's a noble conversation. We can't imagine Imara alone. We need to imagine it with many people, including you who are in the media. How do you project the bodies of girls? How do you project the voices of girls and women? And how do we create that space and make sure that it is safe? And of course, we continue to making sure that sustainability is the three forms of sustainability: ecological sustainability, financial sustainability, and the voice that we need to have out there. Come imagine Imara with us. Come imagine the Girls Festival with us. Let's propound the voices of the leaders of not tomorrow, but these are the leaders of today. Because Africa, the Africa we want, is an Africa where the young people take charge. And among the young people, where young women and girls have a voice, and their voice is heard, and their voice is not muffled, or their voice is not looked at as a secondary voice. For us, that is sustaining Africa.
Thank you so much. So Jackie, allow me come back to you because, you know, I've heard you speak on several occasions and I really love the energy you use and whatever you say. So coming to our next question. How can female musicians collaborate to amplify the voices of young girls and women in our communities? And what impact do you hope to see from such initiatives?
First and foremost, I personally believe if you approach almost every female musician right now in the industry, they will be more than happy to collaborate on something like this, because at the back of everything else, a lot of female musicians have gone through so much to get to where they are. So for them to be able to stand up and speak, for example, if they saw Madame Lillian or me, or any of the ladies on this panel, for example, today, speaking out, I don't believe they would want to be left out on that. So I would expect them to, first and foremost, since so many of the young people who are coming up right now look up to them, you'll be very surprised by that when it comes to the young girls, the youth right now. They look up to musicians, and the musicians don't even know. That's why a lot of the times, for example, there's an interview I had sometime, and I spoke against a certain, not against, but there was something the musician was doing wrong. And I was literally trolled for the biggest time on it was like a week and a half. They were just on Jackie Chandiru, how can she say this, how can she say that? But I was speaking the truth, and that was the first time that I said it on national TV, and I wasn't scared about speaking the truth. So if these female musicians can come out and speak and show an example that whoever it is that is watching, the youth that are looking at them right now, because right now we are at a certain stage in our lives where all we can do is urge those who are coming up to follow, to take a certain path, because perhaps by the time we were able to speak about certain things, certain issues concerning women, we were not able to. Like I said, there were so many things that were not allowing us to speak openly as women. Because right now for us to sit here, for me to sit here and talk like this is something that is extreme. I never thought it would happen. One, because I believed I'm not supposed to speak with men, like I told you. But somehow you grow big heads. The look behind me also cannot allow me to just keep quiet when I see a lot of things happening. And considering the fact that I'm a victim of so many things that some of you may not have gone through. I'm talking about domestic violence. I'm talking about addiction, depression, all those things. So I can comfortably stand here because I know there's nothing on this earth that can throw me down. Again, there is nothing that hasn't happened to me. So the fact that we need people to unleash their potential, because I believe there's so many people in the creative industry who became what they are when they didn't even know that they could become. Something had to unleash their potential. Somebody had to push them somewhere, somehow. And putting that aside, I would want us to emphasize the Almighty, because nothing is possible without the gentleman upstairs. So I would expect, I would pray and hope that when it comes to all the female musicians, for example, in the music industry, you don't just have to come up and sing your heart out. It's not about that. But other parts of your life must show an example to everybody else. And they should not be afraid to speak out about their journey, because these are the things that are going to teach those who are coming up, and to let them know how exactly we are going to forge our path to the top as women.
Thank you so much. So James, what strategies does Richer Hand employ to ensure the voices of young girls are not only heard but also acted upon in the broader movement for gender equality?
Oh, thank you, Charlotte. I mean, I'm getting deeper inside the minds of the people that are speaking. Maybe when the chairperson here said that we are sustaining the festival, I remembered the challenge that Patricia had thrown on us, and I really now believe it could happen. I think looking at everything that is happening in this country and the movements and how they are growing, you know, one time Humphrey said, why can't we start a TV? There are churches and pastors here where the only content is them speaking for 24 hours, repeated, and they have mass following. What of those of us who believe in something very significant? When I look at how Kololo gets filled for some of these political activities, I'm now tempted to believe Patricia's thinking that our next Imara festival should be at Kololo. because then we are not representing a minority group of any like. We are representing a generational cause, and it's our duty at all times to make sure that it remains alive, but also gains the traction that it needs to be to remain strong and relevant for a very long time. So, Patricia, the challenge is up. We should make sure that our next Imara Festival could occupy a space as big as Kololo, Nambole, etc. But also we should have permanent communication in the form of maybe a TV. Sauti could do this on a very long-term basis to make sure that, again, women and girls are not just a subject debated and discussed on one day in a very long time, but it is something that is recurrent. There is programming from the countryside, from all over the country, to make sure that this is something that anyone, whether they care or not, they have to somehow find it, and it catches them. Having said that, looking at how Rahu is able to proceed with this and how we're able to amplify the voices, Richer Hand itself is founded on the vision of voice. When Humphrey founded Richer Hand Uganda in 2010, he was presenting a TV program called The Youth Voice on NBS, which is still there today. It is the Youth Voice program that eventually has the building blocks for Richer Hand Uganda. And I think to date we have remained faithful to that building block. Richer Hand Uganda amplifies the voices of young people, especially young women and girls. And we have come up with a myriad of innovations that we do every day. And we do, for example, film. We have produced film that amplifies the voices of women and girls and all other young people in different settings. We have done film to amplify the voices of persons with disability, how they can fit and ably participate in spaces. Our most recent is a film called Sabotage. Sabotage is a film that strives to promote the dignity of women and girls. We've taken this film across the country. I was in Fort Portal last week for a major event, and I shared with the audience that I had there. We still have a lot to do. When I watched that film with the community in one of the closed spaces, the scene that featured rape came up. And the people in Rahu were asking, how comes all of a sudden your pictures on social media are so ugly? Because I was hurt. It appeared like people were cheering that and they were more happy to see that, and I did a time to discuss what they learned. I find that the issue of violence is still deeply rooted in the minds of people, and not men. That is the other interesting bit, including women. The men that I interacted with in that session, about 12 to 15 of them, and women, were all drunk. The women who were there found no problem. That is what gets me really, really intrigued with that scene. I asked them why they made the most noise. They said, you know, some of us, we eat this men's money and then we don't want to respond. And these were the women. And for me, I really think that whatever we have to do, communication is good enough, but we have to promote actions against perpetrators of gender-based violence, such that then these don't become normals of today and then tomorrow. It is until those of us in spaces of enforcing the law, it is until those of us in spaces of making the law believe and promote and all work in consonant and enforce the laws, that then people will see such a sin and not cheer it, but all of them understand that that is a sin whose purpose is to say it shouldn't happen, not to promote it. So I think we have a lot of work to do in our film industry, and Rahu and Sauti Media Hub are really on top of that, doing a lot. The work is immense. But also the community work that we do should try as much as possible to address two issues that are context specific. Uganda is such a big place. And in Uganda, every society, every community has something that is supreme. Whatever we call bad, whatever we call good, whereas we want it to be universal, it is not. Some of the things we strongly speak against here are things that are adored and promoted in other parts of this country. So for those of us who are into programming, we need to be in the depth of these communities. Our team has been in Ajumani, and they raised a paper on the issues that we should be focusing on. And ironically, Those are some of the things that we take for granted here. We don't even think at them as problems. And I think for us, that should be something we do deeper. We should continue to bring women and girls into advocacy spaces to speak for themselves. Every time a voice is out, every time a voice is lauded of a person who has lived and experienced the issue that they are talking about, it is more authentic, it is believable, it calls to action, it changes the thinking of a certain actor somewhere. Every time we that think are converted speak for these people, we obstruct the faces behind them. And the people that we speak to, therefore, look at us because they interact with us in a sort of land space, and we take away the issue from its existence. So we should, as Rahu and the rest of the partners, continue to struggle that the disadvantaged women and girls in all their respective spaces are brought to the places where decisions are made, to the places where lawmakers sit, such that the impunity of not legislating on the issues that be is reduced significantly. There's a lot of experiences. There's a time we had a dialogue at Makerere, and there was a female member of parliament. When we spoke about these issues, she had the audacity to actually dismiss them. There was a girl in the audience who had been raped at Makerere, who came and said, Madam Honorable, I have listened to your story, because the Honorable really confessed that she had practically not studied in Uganda. She was in Namagunga, then went abroad. Then from when she came back, went to her constituency, got elected. She said, I have never interacted with this. The girl told her, I am here. It's not a story. ABCD happened. I had sex at 13, etc., etc. With a lot of things, she cried. And the Honorable MP came and apologized. And she came and wrote a piece in our editorial. And for her, she said that was the biggest classroom she had ever been to, because she listened to the actual story of a person who has suffered what we are talking about. It's no longer a story in the papers or anything. So I really want to promote that it's something that we should prioritize. As Rahu, we also do partnerships that matter. For us, I think having a partnership with Forde and others is significant. You know, you can partner with so many entities until you partner with people that are speaking in the direction of your cause. For us to be here and amplify this festival for the next so many months is not random. And I think the airplay that we speak about these issues should even be magnified. Our media should speak. In Uganda, the first time we had actual discussion on sexuality education, we got a formal writing going to UCC from one of the religious bodies to say that we are spoiling the children of the country. Now, I personally led the doing of those videos with partners Richer Hand and others. And we were just getting parents, doctors, people of authority who were speaking about issues that they have experienced, that they have seen, and teaching. Now, when someone comes to say that we're promoting immorality because Dr. Sabrina and Dr. Naku came and gave a session on how girls suffer with defilement, is already bad enough to be coming from people that should otherwise be custodians. So it's until we are able to consistently speak out even on those small pieces that we think are stigmatized, then we cannot make a lot of progress, but we should continuously speak about them. And Rahu, even when we're saying we're doing partnerships that matter, is what we're talking about. Get the right partners in the room that have the edge to speak about the issues that affect us, that have for a very long time been put under the carpet. We also want to have role model the youth health space. You know, as Richer Hand Uganda, when we say role model the youth health space, we are doing a lot in terms of making sure that what was hitherto very difficult to speak about many months ago, many years ago, is now coming through, not because we have spoken about, but simply because we have carried a camera and taken it to a community where someone has gone through this and making it public. The issues we speak about, people are shy. People don't want to be seen to be the ones that talk about them. Even us, we don't want to talk about them. So let the people that are affected. All our approach is, let's just put a camera in their face, ask them to speak about it, and we share it worldwide, I mean, for everyone to see. And that's something that we remain committed to. So having said that, I really extend our commitment to continue to work on the issues that we do, extend our commitment forward to continue to chase the dream of the Imara Center until such a time when this press conference is in the center itself. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So coming to you, Mary, briefly, what message do you aim to send to young girls and women in Uganda through initiatives about supporting and investing growth and potential?
Thank you, Charlotte. What I would say to a girl child in Uganda, probably a young Mary in Uganda, is to reach out to these spaces. I'm glad for the center that is coming up. It's going to be a place of knowledge and growth. And this is going to be, because I understand it's going to have people with the experience. We shall be hosting people like Jackie, people like, some of us. So as someone who has, my journey has not been a smooth one, because I was orphaned at an age of 2.5 years. So as a girl, you understand what you go through, so such spaces will benefit them a lot, not only spiritually, not only economically, but also emotionally, because they will find people who have gone through a lot, sharing their experiences, for them not to go through the same. So it gives them a higher step than what these people have gone through. And also to seek guidance. As a girl child, we experience more that, I don't want to say men don't, but ours is a different story. But also to seek guidance for people, seek for mentors, people who are in your space. And also seek majorly guidance. For even if it's formal sector or informal sector, look for knowledge in whichever form that you may want. So as Movit Products Limited and also Movit Foundation, we are privileged to add our voice to this initiative. And also we are always open to come on board and add our voice again whenever we are called upon. And also encourage also other people, other companies to come on board.
Thank you so much. Back to you, Molly, in under 1 minute. How have initiatives like Imara Girls Festival impacted the lives of women in your community, and what more can be done to support women in the informal sector?
Thank you, moderator. Initiatives have done a lot in training women on their rights, knowing their rights, in leadership trainings. As you know that earlier before in markets, leadership was taken by men, but now you can find women taking positions in markets. It's a credit to us. There is, though it's done, but there is more still needed. In having trainings, more trainings on leadership to enable these girls take part in leadership. Secondly, to advocate for policy law reforms based on gender equality, sexual violence, more especially to those men who defile our girls. There is a need of a law reform on sexual violence, and there is a need in a law reform of family law, especially on women living in cohabitation. Then, more sensitization on women's rights, engaging men, because are the main perpetrators of violence in markets. And extending more Imara centers in other areas, like in rural areas, because women there are harassed, they are violated You can find girls who have joined marriages. Early marriages are very many in rural areas, so we need these Imara centers in those villages, in the rural areas, to rehabilitate those people. Then, lastly, having those skilling programs and equipping the girls. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I'll allow my panelists in 30 seconds each to give like closing remarks, and we close off this and wrap it up. So I'll start with Jackie.
Why me first? First and foremost, I would like to thank you so very much for having me here today. And one of the main things I would like to say is there is no female, I believe there's barely any female who is able to stand out or to stand up and do something it is that she believes she can do. And the one thing that they need is the empowerment. They need to be taught that we females, we women are actually the mothers of this world, because this world would not exist if it wasn't for us. We are the ones who give life. We are the ones who bring forth children, whether it's males, whether it's females, it is us. So for whatever it is that must be done, we need that empowerment. Women need to know their strength. They need to know that they were taken from a rib, from a man, not to do anything but to be literally a helper, but not a silent helper. Because there's places that men can't get to, that women can get to. Why? Because a woman will not think just about here and today. She's one person that thinks about the future. So I'm so happy to have been here today, and the fact that there's so many companies and there's so many organizations that are part of this, to take it forth to the ladies in very many different sectors and let them know that they can be who they are supposed to be today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mary?
Thank you. First and foremost, I want to thank the organizers. I want to thank Ford. I want to thank for all the partners that have come on board to add their voices to this initiative. And also, secondly, I pray. I'm a prayerful person, and I hope this festival is better than last year's, and it will keep on growing and growing. And I call upon, again, I've kept on saying this, I call upon companies to come on board and support such initiatives. Because if you don't empower women, you're leaving the entire country behind. So thank you. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. It's a privilege for us to be here as Movit Products, to come and add our voice to this initiative.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm sure it's me next. Thank you, Charlotte, and I really want to welcome but also appreciate everyone who has made it to this presser. I want to thank the partners that have participated in all ways, and I really go back to the theme in my conclusion: invest in her, unleash her potential. Let us support every initiative. Those of us in the private sector, we really appreciate every opportunity to put money in a woman's pocket and also teach her how to get used to the money. Once you have the money, as a woman, get used to having the money, and everything else shall naturally keep coming down, and we shall have a very peaceful society for all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. My last words are, let's walk the journey together. Come and partner, come and join, come and be part of the in-thing happening, come and be part of the collective that is about shaping the future for our girls and young women. They say the future of Africa is its young people. Come, let's be part of shaping that future, connecting with the young people, connecting them together. Come and imagine Imara with us and imagine it collectively.
Thank you.
Thank you, moderator. My remarks, calling upon everyone, wherever you are, to be a voice for the voiceless women in the informal sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My last remarks. I would like to appreciate Rich Hand for reaching out to me and for inviting me. This is a very big opportunity. I'm so happy to be seated with all these ladies and the gentlemen in their full capacities. Two, I want to encourage the ladies out there, girls, women, please be confident in yourself. Know that you have the potential to do anything and to be anything. Love yourself, take care of yourself. I also encourage the young ladies, especially those who are in university, to take upon leadership opportunities. Please utilize the opportunities that you get. Attend conferences, attend competitions, seek mentorship, and you will be successful. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to my audience for being a very wonderful one, and thank you to my panelists. So now, if you have a question from the audience or from the media team, you can put it forward to any of the panelists. They are ready and more willing to answer. Yeah, the panel has been so good that all the questions have been answered.
We said everything.
Yeah. Thank you so much once again. I remain Charlotte, your moderator for the day.
Can we take a photo?
And everything is done.
Okay, so we're going to have a group photo. And then after that, we shall be doing some interviews. Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as we take a group photo, all else has been discussed, but the date of the Imara Girl Festival is going to be on the 12th of October at Katikati. It will be a Saturday at Katikati Grounds. So we start very early in the morning at 5 a.m., you know, up to 5 a.m. on 13th. So it's going to be a 24-hour kind of festival. 12th October at Katikati Grounds. So thank you. We shall be having a call of all vendors and exhibitors. So that is going to be distributed on our channels. If you want to come and showcase something, you're most welcome. But also, those who want to showcase the products and everything, we still have a few stalls remaining. Thank you. A stall, we shall discuss the prices. Shall put a contact person, that will be Mark. Yes. So we're going into interviews, and then we shall be calling it a day.